Why you will never hear me call myself a Christian. I was a short-term missionary, grew up in the church. I've read the Bible several times, cover to cover. My mother was a church hopper for a little bit until she finally settled into a non-denominational church. Grew up in Cupertino, California. I used to have Bible study every night. I was a missionette. So much more, I can go on and on. But now, I'm what you call a spiritualist. I'm a mystic. I'm a witch. I'm a pagan. I've been called so many different things. I believe that Mary Magdalene and that the church had lied about so many things, including her, that they warp scripture, that the church is corrupt, but there are good churches out there, so I'm not anti-church. I do attend a church every once in a while. But I think things have been corrupted throughout time. The church has openly admitted to that, switching scripture conveniently to control the masses and narrative. So if they did it once or twice or 3 times, they're going to do it again and more that they probably will never admit to. But blindly following man, it's not something I do. And so I've when my mother died, she was everything to me. She was my spiritual guide. Everything I would run past her before I would chose to believe in anything. When she passed away, I had to start from scratch. Over from the beginning, what I chose to believe, what I was going to believe, and what made sense to me, and what was the actual truth. I wanted to know the truth. So I went down to bare bones and built my spirituality from the ground up. And so I kind of don't fit into any box, first and foremost. Though I'll never call myself a Christian, I don't even really know what I'll call myself. So I have settled on a mystic because that kind of aligns. The majority of what I believe and practice aligns with mysticism. So what is a mystic? A mystic is someone who pursues the divine power, the divinity, communion with God, and want to embody that power. Jesus came to earth to show us that we can be just like him. That meant be divine and hold that kind of power and control and entity. We are children of God, therefore we are divine beings. And for some reason the church has, we all know why the reason they did it, was to take away the power of the people. They didn't want the people to feel empowered, which was the original teachings of Jesus. So they warped it to control. So the church was the one in control. So the church was the one that held all the power, not humans, not the people, not the peasants. Yes, I believe in the Bible. I believe that if it doesn't make sense in scripture, that doesn't mean that it's not true or that it's totally off the table. It just means that there's so much more out there that we have yet to discover. You can't possibly think that humans, that mankind has uncovered all of those books that have been buried throughout the centuries of the scripture. How do you think the Bible was built and created? They discovered books and they put it together. Who knows that there might be other books missing? So obviously I do not want to be associated with a corrupt church that was responsible for killing so many people in the Crusades, and not just that, but several other historical events because of the corruption of the church. The corrupt popes, the disgusting history that is amongst the church. I don't want nothing to do with it. They are responsible for destroying so many lives, so many different types of human beings, and not showing the love of Jesus that they so proudly proclaim that they claim to do, but I know they don't. Another reason is Jesus never actually called himself a Christian. So though I believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that I technically have a lot of the spiritual beliefs, he never called himself a Christian, so I refuse to do the same. I am a busy working mother who juggles so much. That's why I created this YouTube channel to kind of show how I do it, that you could do it too, normalizing spirituality as well as juggling it as a busy mom and working woman. But when it comes to my children, I don't force them to believe exactly what I believe. I bring my beliefs and rituals to the table and incorporate it in my day-to-day life with my children, and I leave it up to them what they're going to choose to believe. They question things, they dialogue with me, and I love it, and I openly encourage it. And they choose to believe what they believe. And another thing is we are not required to call ourselves a Christian or identify as a Christian. We are required to love one another and follow the teachings of Jesus. And that is precisely what I do. So there is no requirement to consider yourself a Christian and label yourself as that. You can label yourself whatever you want. And so I choose to call myself a spiritualist or a mystic. And the priority, the focus I always want to make sure I have is that I am being a loving, kind, generous, humble, divine being that impacts the world for good. That is the focus I hope to always have. And that is the focus that Christians should hope to have.